Hi folks. Hope you're all doing okay. So as usual, we're recording this session because I know a lot of people who wanted to take part aren't able to make it tonight at 5. So we're recording it and I'll make sure that it's up in the group as soon as possible so people can watch back. So welcome to the probably the last coaching session before we launch. For those who haven't been to any of the live ones, I hope you've had a chance to catch up with the other recordings, and have shared the toolkit that we're going to look at in the group, and it went out on an email today. So let me know if you haven't got that in front of you, and I'll send a link so that you can have a look at it while we're working through. So Brill. So those of you who don't know, this is Caroline from Crowdfunder.
Hi everyone.
So she's going to be supporting us today and helping us out with the toolkit. So we're a small group that are on live, so if you've got questions, just shout about them, and once we've been through the social toolkit stuff and all of that, feel free to ask any questions you've got generally about the campaign and anything you've got, so that you're all ready for launch day. So Caroline, over to you.
Great stuff. Right, I'll just share my screen. Can you see that spreadsheet? Good stuff. Excellent. So I've pulled together this plan. Hopefully it's quite self-explanatory. It's in a spreadsheet format just because it was kind of easier to do it that way. So basically the first tab is the contents page. So it takes you through what each tab along the bottom means. So we've got a marketing plan, we've got a supporters spreadsheet, social media posting plan, a fundraiser list, and an example of an email. I've also put a note at the bottom about a press release that Brass Bands England will share with you, so you can top and tail it and bespoke it for your own band. But basically the marketing plan is probably the main bit I'll focus on today, because that sort of takes you through what you sort of need to start doing now if you haven't already, and then we'll take you through the sort of various key ideas we've got. Now, one thing to say is you don't have to do everything on this list because there's a lot of it. So unless you've got a big team of people around you, I'm guessing most of you are probably trying to do this single-handedly. So don't feel pressurized that you've got to do every single thing on the list. It's ideas and tips for you to pick and choose from. There are some key things I will suggest you do focus on, but don't worry if you can't cope with everything, because I'm very aware there is a lot to do. So I will take you through the marketing plan first off. So we've sort of sectioned it into things to do now, things to do in the next 2 days, and then things to do when we've gone live on Friday. Identifying your crowd. So those of you who were here and part of the campaign last year or have been on any of the webinars so far will know that we talk a lot at Crowdfunder about identifying your crowd. So this is basically who's your target audience in marketing speak. Who's your network? Who do you know, and who do your people that you know? So to enable you to get as much reach as possible for your campaign. So that's creating a list of your obvious people, your band members, your family, your friends, your local community, people who've been to see you play and perform live before, people who've donated to you in the past, those people who are already going to be engaged with your campaign. And then that sort of wider list of people who might not know you already, but they could be engaged in your campaign. So it might be local businesses, it might be local celebrities or people who've got a lot of influence. It could be your local MP, for example. So people who are, well connected in the local community who might want to share your campaign. Excuse me while I just cough. Right. So that's a thing to be doing now if you haven't done it already, because you want those people lined up and ready for sharing the campaign when it goes live. So the next bit is nurturing your crowd. So getting them warmed up. Again, if you haven't started doing this already, start doing it now. Start doing it in the next couple of days. Get your followers on your social media channels warmed up, especially. So your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram people, start telling your story. So obviously, hopefully, if you've created your page already, that story will already have started to emerge. But it's really important that you and we talked about this for those of you who were on the last webinar about that emotional hook. So why is this fundraising campaign particularly important to you? Why is your band important? Why is it important to the local community? And so focusing on the Christmas experience, why is brass banding in particular a really important part of the Christmas experience? So, what Christmas would be, really missing if we didn't have that brass band experience. So, focus on things like that. It's those emotional hooks that will get people to donate. So start warming everybody up. Contact your existing supporters now if you haven't already. Get your Facebook and Twitter and Instagram pages warmed up. Get those audiences all ready to go tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, before we launch, widely. And then, yes, and especially your local community as well. So networking, etc. And then if you've got time and if you've got a website, update your website with a coming soon, and potentially set up an opt-in box for people to hear from you. So that's basically ask them for their email address and opt in to further communications. So that'll be a good way of getting people on your mailing list for the future. We've also got a link on this spreadsheet to some assets on the Crowdfunder website. So how to, do more with your project page. So it's probably worth having a look at that as well. So the next stage is countdown to launch. So again, I spoke about a few of these areas on the last webinar. We spoke about QR codes. Now, QR codes are a brilliant way of allowing people to donate to you in person when they don't have cash. So it's free to use. So a lot of you will possibly have card readers already, iZettle and things like that. You can download a QR code from your project page dashboard in the back end of Crowdfunder, and then you can use that either digitally or print it out onto posters, tickets, programs, put it on the front of your bandstand when you're playing, in front of your music stand, so people can walk up to it, take a photo of it. They hover over it with their camera, and it will take them directly to your project page. So if you don't do anything else, download the QR code. It's a brilliant way of collecting donations for free whilst you're playing live. Other thing we've suggested is things like save the dates. So if you've got time, if you haven't done it already, potentially do a little online or live performance this weekend to do a sort of celebratory launch. So we've suggested save the date. Start getting your rewards sorted out and your prizes for your page if you haven't already. Create an email signature. So that's to go on the bottom of all your emails when you send out. Get some images prepared. So using free online resources such as there's a website called Pablo and there's a website called Canva. They're great free resources for helping you create nice images for your social media campaigns. And then I think one of the really important things that we always talk about Crowdfunder is getting a few pledges, a few donations live on your page before we do the main launch on Friday. So when we launch on Friday and the wider community comes to your page, they'll see that you've already started fundraising, and that's really a really good way to get people enticed in. It's like, oh yeah, great, they've already started fundraising, I want to commit. So try and get your first, we say first 10% or first 10 pledges lined up to donate tomorrow when your page goes live, so that when we go live to the wider public on Friday, you've already got some donations in. So yeah, we've talked about launch parties. So week one, that's sort of from Friday onwards. Talking, with some ideas here about emailing your supporters, emailing your local community, emailing local businesses. There is an email example that I'll go through at the end. Launch on WhatsApp, on Facebook, make sure your website's updated. So all these things can start happening from Friday over the weekend. Making sure you're using every single channel available to you to get that message out there that your project page is live and you're fundraising for a really important cause. As I've said, if you want to do a launch performance, maybe over the weekend, that'd be great. And again, get out into your local community, create your flyers with your QR codes, go into your local shops, your local bars, restaurants, event venues, You could potentially do, you know, some kind of stunt activity, you know, get out into the local community and show them what you're good, what you know, what the important message is that you're trying to get across. And the other thing is, as I mentioned before, the press release. So start lining up some local media contacts, teeing them up to the launch, or potentially if you've got, I'm sure you'll be having performances over the next 4 weeks, get them invited along, and they can then share the news on either on your local the local press websites, or hopefully if you've got contacts at local radio, local TV, you know, you're all performers, so try and use those contacts as much as possible. Week 2, again, maintaining the momentum. So making sure you're regularly posting on social media, you know, have all your supporters being invited to share share your page with their network, more emails, more press, etc., etc. And again, week 3, week 4, keep going, keep going. As soon as you've got to that halfway stage, every time you hit a target, we've reached £1,000, or we've got halfway, or we've reached 50%, it's another opportunity to say to your crowd, to your network, we're there, we're getting there. You could potentially organise a team meeting, so making sure that, you know, everybody is ready, everybody's, you know, sharing, everybody's using their networks as wide as possible, they're sharing your campaign across their social network. We've also suggested, which is quite a nice idea, if you've got rewards attached to your project page, potentially you could hold some back till week 3 and release some new ones. So again, that will give another opportunity for people to go in and donate. It's another message for you to put out there. We've got new rewards. It also means that it's a new thing to stimulate that conversation. And again, yes, keeping on top of the press, any local bloggers, as I said, celebrate the halfway point of your campaign. And again, chase people. If they haven't done what they've said they were going to do early doors, make sure, you know, you've emailed them, you've tagged them on social, personalize your messages to them, make sure that they, you know, if they've said they're going to support you, make sure that they're supporting you. And then the final week of the campaign, week 4, or whatever week it is, time to do countdown activities, you know, 1 week to go, 5 days to go, 4 days to go, etc., to keep that momentum going. You know, make sure that local businesses are supporting you, those local influencers, and your personal networks. And then finally, on the last day, or the last but one day, you can celebrate. So make sure you're saying mega thank yous to all your supporters. You know, you shout about what you've done, what you've achieved, how much you've raised, how many supporters you've got, and make sure that that's you know, all being celebrated across all of your channels, to say a big thank you. And those of you who did it last year, you'll know that, you know, that sort of end of campaign thank you is worth as much as you know, the sort of kick-off point at the start of the campaign, because that will make people more likely to donate to you in the future. Down the side of this spreadsheet, as you can see, I've talked about all the activity, but you could also you know, make a note of what channels you've got available, which audiences you're targeting in your key messages, and then you can mark them off as complete as and when you've done them. So that was a quick run through of the marketing campaign. Does anybody have any questions before I move on? Good. I do apologise for my cat, who have made a surprise appearance then. She's very keen on brass bands.
The only thing I'll just add into that, I'm just putting a link in the chat now, which did go out in the email earlier today, but just so you've got it, we've got some graphics on there that are that we've put together that you can use and customize and put your band information on. There's also the kind of baseline copy about the campaign there that then you can adapt to put into a press release, and bits and bobs like that. And the other thing that I would just add in is people who took part in the crowdfunding campaign last year, which I know is a few people here tonight. Make sure that you've factored in recontacting the people that donated last time, and you're prioritizing recontacting those people as part of this marketing plan, because you're in a particularly beneficial position, because you've got that, you know who those people are that wanted to contribute to the campaign last year, and they will want to contribute again, and they'll want to hear about what's happened in that time, how you've come back stronger, what you're planning to do in the next year. That story will be really, really valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who's previously donated to you, supported you, been to see you perform, absolutely, they're your hot prospects for this year. So the marketing spreadsheet, the marketing plan bit of this spreadsheet is probably the most detail that I'll go into. I'll just take you through the other tabs on the toolkit. So we've got a supporters list. So this is just basically a way to capture those people you know who could potentially give you support, who are potentially well connected. So it might be a journalist, it might be a local musician, it might be a local business leader. So it's just making sure that you've captured, you know, a good handful of key supporters and what they will promise to do for you. So not only donate but share with their networks, publish a link on their own websites, or on their own social media channel. So, you know, it's just giving you that sort of focus list of make sure we don't forget these people, they're really important to us. And then same for your fundraisers. So if you've got people who fundraised for you last year or who've actively fundraised for you in the intervening months, who you know will want to fundraise for you again, you know, just make a list, work out, you know, ask them how much they think they can raise for you, and then that's a good, you know, tally, a good checklist for you to focus on and make sure that those fundraisers are A, you know, fundraising for you, and B, if you've got rewards on your page, they can also offer those rewards out to their donors as well. So it's a really good way to help them get more money in and get more support for your page. And then you can make notes and make sure you know, key dates, say thank you, etc. There's also quite an extensive social media posting plan. I have it's quite similar to those of you who joined in last year, quite similar. I've got written a post per day. Again, you don't have to do it, use every single post. You don't have to post every single day. In fact, if you do post every day, it can be a turn off because people will be like, oh yes, we know you're fundraising. So what we've tried to do is give you different messages to post so that you're not sort of, you know, creating fatigue amongst your social audiences. So, you know, obviously you'll want to go, you know, out with a post tomorrow. We're live, start donating now so that you get those early pledges in over the next couple of days. You know, we've got a day 2, day 3. You can target posts to different audiences and tag different people in. So if you've got local businesses who support you, or you want to support you, do a local business. So day 3, we've said local businesses, can you help us raise funds? You can tag them in. Make sure you use the hashtag brass bands at Christmas, because the more people use it, the more people will see it. It'll get picked up by the social media algorithms and potentially start trending, which will be great for everybody because then more people will see the campaign. You can just then, you know, use that and also use other potential trending hashtags. So as we go along, things like hashtag Charity Tuesday works. It's December, there's lots of events going on, November, December time. So you make sure you're using the relevant hashtags as well. So, you know, work through this list. As I said, you don't need to use all of them, but it's just a good way of, picking up, sort of saying different things about the same project. So different ways of expressing what's happening. Different, a donation of X can help us do Y. Oh, we're halfway there. Christmas is on the way. Surprise a loved one with a carol performance. Thank you to everybody who's helped us raise money. Don't forget about our awards. So just different ways of saying the same thing, basically. And then again, you can tick those off as you've gone along. Obviously, the day 1 and day whatever it is, day 30 at the end of the campaign, really important that you say, you know, you launch your campaign and then you say thank you at the end. And tell everybody how well you've done. So, you know, even after the campaign's finished, keep saying thank you. We've raised this much, you know, we've raised £1,000. This will enable us to do X with the money. So people can see those real life examples of what they've donated to and how it's going to help you.
I think something to
yes.
remember as well when it comes to social media is that often when we do these kind of things, bands don't necessarily engage with the other bands that are doing it, and actually you definitely should, because you've got a shared audience, and it's not unlikely that people who have donated to a band in your local area might also donate to you, and the more that you engage with other posts that are going on, the more that's going to cognitive spread everywhere. So definitely do that. But also, if you've got something really, if another band that's local to you or has just done something really exciting and engaging on social media, share it, because it's ready-made content for you that you haven't needed to create. But you can share it and talk about your campaign and talk about how you're doing it together. So you don't need to do it in isolation just because you're fundraising for your band. It works far better if everyone supports everyone. So do definitely do that.
Brilliant idea. Thank you, Sarah. Absolutely. You're not necessarily in competition with each other. You're there to support each other. And absolutely, as you said, Sarah, if another band has done something really cool and you think, oh, I wish I'd thought that, share it and go, hey, this band has done this, isn't it great? So yeah, absolutely use each other as ideas and absolutely share the heck out of each other. That'd be brilliant. Another thing I should have said as well, from what Sarah said, is obviously social media works best when it's got photos and videos attached to it. So don't use these posts in isolation. Don't just copy and paste the text and post it on your social. It'll look very boring. So make sure you use the images that have been provided and real life images of your band playing, images that you took last year, videos you've got of your concerts, little snippets, interviews with the band members. Really use as much creativity as possible, because a text only tweet or Facebook post looks boring. It won't get a lot of engagement. People won't then want to share it. So make sure you've used, you've got a video and a video or an image attached to every single post. And obviously it goes without saying, make sure you post a link to your project page in every single post, just in case anybody forgets to do that, because otherwise how do people know where to go and donate? So yeah, those are the rules. Follow them, you'll get lots of engagement. And then finally, right at the end, on the last tab of the spreadsheet, there is a template email you can use. So if you want to send this out to your supporters, it also gives them a little bit of text to share if they want to share the message out. So we're basically saying, campaign is live, please donate, please, take up one of our awards, or please start fundraising for us. So more than happy. This is just a template. So please top and tail it, tweak it and amend it for your own circumstances. Tell your story in here as well, so they don't have to necessarily go on the project page to hear about why you're fundraising. So use this as a template and make it your own, and then obviously ask people to share it. So that's the main thing. That's the way you will get more donations and reach a wider audience, is by asking people to share. So that is a whistle-stop tour of the social toolkit, or the marketing toolkit. And if you've got any questions, please shout.
We've had one in the chat from Sue that'd be worth covering. So some of our members are going to do some sponsored events. They're going to link it to our campaign, but do you collect the money in person or via the platform? What would you suggest?
I would do a bit of both. So obviously if they are doing a special event, use the online assets to start collecting those donations in before the event, and then on the day use things like the QR codes or links to the page on the day itself. So yeah, do both. There's absolutely no worry about that. I would definitely do both.
And if you take cash, it's absolutely fine to mark that onto the campaign, so you can add that into your totals, even though the transaction's not happening there.
We can add offline donations to your project page, but we do charge a transaction fee, so you may not want to do that. But definitely make a note of it, and then when you're sharing your last few days to go, you can say we've generated this much through our crowdfunder page, plus we've got offline donations of X, so you can say the total amount raised is however much it is.
Brilliant.
Definitely.
Cool. Anyone else? Any questions? Not necessarily about the toolkit, about anything to help you get towards launch day. Cool. Bro. Okay, thanks guys. Great to see you. We'll be around in the Facebook group. So if you've got any questions, pop them into there or drop us an email. Really, it's been great to see some of the pages go live already, but really looking forward to seeing everyone's go live in a flurry over the next couple of days. Yeah, can't wait.
Cool. Good luck, everyone. And yeah, as Sarah said, if you have questions, get them in the Facebook group, and we'll do our best to answer them. But good luck. Hope it all goes well.
Bro. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.